Yo, what's up guys, it's your boy Sami here. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto was the son of dragons, part 2, hope you'll enjoy this video. So before we start please subscribe to our channel, and like this video. So let's get into the video. Your house? Yeah, sorry Rias, we just need to make a quick stop by my house, so I can drop off my trophies, and get changed. Naruto apologized to Rias, as the two of them walked together. She had changed into a rather nice frilled dark blue and purple shirt, with short shorts that hugged her butt nicely. She had changed into her casual clothes at school. Why she had her casual clothes there was a surprise, and raised questions for him. The sports clubs were a lot easier to conquer than I thought they would be. Got myself a lot of victory trophies. Naruto raised the bag that he was holding on his back. Rias nodded her head, and looked at the stuffed full bag, guessing that Naruto had claimed his trophies from quite a few clubs. She could only guess his reaction when he came to her club, and challenged them to something. Most boys wait until the 5th date before introducing the girl to their family, you know. Rias tried her hand at teasing. Naruto shrugged. Feel free to wait outside then. I doubt anyone is home anyway. Naruto mentioned his house came into view. Rias rubbed her head when she felt a pounding headache coming on. She looked towards a house that had a rather old motorcycle out on the front of it. She felt a rather ominous feeling coming from the house in general, and she hoped against hope that it wasn't the house that she was stopping at. The chill down her spine, and goosebumps that came over her body, was enough to tell her that some rather powerful holy artifacts were at the house. Please don't turn left, crap. Naruto turned left, and walked towards the front door. You okay? Naruto asked Rias with a raised eyebrow. Your family isn't super religious, are they? Rias asked with a look around. She saw a cross hanging over the front door, already knowing the answer to her question from that alone. Not to mention the powerful feeling that she got from the house only got more dangerous when she stepped closer and closer. She looked up at the cross, it reflected in her eyes, as it gave off that dangerous glint. Nope. Oh, thanks. Granny isn't religious, but she's always saying how much she hates stuff like devils. Naruto mentioned with a wave of his hand. He opened the front door, and walked right in. Naruto gestured for Rias to come inside, and she hesitated for a moment before she walked in, and was hit by the smell of booze. Well, Granny is home. Naruto took his shoes off, and stepped into the hallway to the living room. He could smell the booze, meaning that she had already returned, and gotten herself drunk. Rias followed after him into the living room, where she laid her eyes on somebody that made her raise an eyebrow. There was an attractive woman just laying across the couch in nothing but her shirt and her panties. She wasn't even wearing sexy panties, just comfortable panties that looked like they belonged to an older woman. The woman shared similar blonde hair to Naruto, so maybe his mother. Hey Granny, get your ass up, we have company. Naruto kicked Tsunade off of the couch as he passed by her. Fucking brat, respect your elders. Tsunade shouted as she was rudely awoken from her slumber. She grabbed her sake bottle and threw it at Naruto. She woke with a thunder, already annoyed by being kicked off the couch. Naruto caught the bottle, and tossed it back to her, and when she caught it, she took a large swig from it directly. Company? Tsunade asked, as she looked towards Rias. Rias tried to make herself smaller. This was fucking Tsunade Senju, the supernatural world's greatest healer. Possessor of the Twilight healing sacred gear, with legends saying that she had once healed an entire army by herself. The woman was in her 60s, but somehow she didn't look a day over her 20s, meaning the rumors that she had mastered her sacred gear to the point she had healed her aging body were true. Hello, I'm a friend of Naruto's from school. Rias gave a polite bow to Tsunade. She was on a list of humans you did not piss off. You seem familiar, oh well, whatever. I'm going back to sleep. Don't wake me with your fucking. Tsunade laid back down, not caring why the girl seemed familiar to her. She hugged the bottle she was holding to her chest, and turned on her side away from them. Naruto palmed his face at her. I'll be back in a moment. Naruto mentioned this, as he went towards the stairs, and Rias followed after him. You know I'm changing my clothes, right? Naruto asked her, and she waved off his concerns. She didn't want to be in the same room as a drunk Tsunade for long if she could help it. I'm curious about your trophy collection. Rias made her best excuse. It was a good one, and she got her look at his trophies when he got to his room. For a delinquent, she was surprised at how clean his room was. She saw a shelf that was filled with random objects and pictures. Naruto walked towards it and opened his bag up, beginning to place the objects in the bag onto the shelf. Rias raised an eyebrow when she saw Naruto putting a pile of panties on the shelf, her confusion being answered moments later. Issei had the idea of making the Kendo Club give up their underwear for losing. Honestly, I don't care about anything. A trophy is a trophy. Naruto took his shirt off and tossed it onto the floor. His room. Speaking of which, Issei lives right next door, right? You must be close friends with him. Rias knew where all of the people of interest lived. Issei was actually somebody who was suspected of having a powerful sacred gear. He was on her list of potential candidates for peerage filler. She just needed more time to observe him, and see if she could use anything to make him willing to join her peerage. Of course, the way you poke fun at him. Met him today. The Red Eye Emperor isn't really the type of guy I usually hang out with. Naruto shot down Ria's theory as he grabbed a new shirt, a very casual one, and threw it on. As much as Rias could appreciate his muscular body, she wasn't put into a hot bothered state by it, as other women had been during the day. If anything, she was able to appreciate the amount of work that went into his body. Red Eye Emperor. That was a strange nickname. Rias stopped when she looked towards his bed, and hanging above his bed, she saw two very distinct swords. The strongest demon sword, Gram. One of the four great holy swords, Ascalon. The holy aura coming off of Ascalon was no doubt the true source of how uncomfortable she had felt inside his home. Looking at the sword was enough to put her on edge, even more when she saw Naruto walk towards the swords and take them off of the wall. She was a little surprised when she saw him holding both of the swords, since to have a holy and demon affinity was rather unheard of in general. Actually, it was impossible considering that God would never allow somebody with a demon affinity to hold and wield a holy sword of such power. This is my mom's sword Gram, and this is my dad's sword Ascalon. They're pretty strong swords, but honestly I prefer to use my fists to fight. Want to hold them? Naruto offered to allow her to hold them. Ria stepped back subconsciously as she shook her head negative. Naruto placed them back on the wall, on their wall hangers, before he put on a jacket over his shirt. Anyway, I'm finished, so let's head out, and almost forget my keys. Naruto grabbed his keys off of his dresser. Ria stared at the swords on the wall with a frown on her face for a moment, before she looked at the increasingly mysterious Naruto, as he led her out of his room. Her eyes widened. On the back of his jacket was a red spiral, the symbol of the Uzumaki clan. The clan that had been wiped out. The clan that had produced the world's strongest fighters, and had spawned the legendary Kushina Uzumaki, the strongest Red Dragon Emperor in history. A woman powerful enough that she had claimed the spot as the strongest existence. That's a pretty unique jacket, especially the symbol on the back. Rias mentioned, as she followed him down the stairs. The more she learned, the more questions she had. It's my mom's old jacket. She was a tomboy back in the day apparently. This was actually a gift from my dad to my mom. He made it himself according to Granny. Naruto showed off his jacket with a grin. It was his favorite jacket, a black jacket with orange sleeves, and his family crest on the back. Rias nodded her head slowly. Wow, just wow, she didn't know that such a big player was transferring into the school. A human from the Uzumaki family, which was well known for producing powerful humans. The very reason why they were wiped out was fear that they would produce another person on par with Kushina and wipe out the other supernatural races. Who were your parents? I noticed there aren't any pictures of them on the wall. Rias asked out of actual curiosity. The only pictures she was seeing were of Naruto and Tsunade, with some pictures of an older man mixed in on occasion. She even saw a picture of Naruto standing with a blonde-haired girl with lavender eyes, wearing a shrine maiden outfit. She didn't see any pictures of Naruto's parents though, or anyone that looked like they could be his parents. Kushina Uzumaki and Minato Namikaze. What? Rias asked, now very sure she heard that incorrectly. Since Naruto just stated the name of the Red and White Dragon Emperors who claimed the titles of strongest. Humans who became so strong that they could fight on par with their inner dragons without using their sacred gears, and with their sacred gears, had the power to become unchallenged. Two rival existences that would never fall in love with each other because of their very existence shouldn't allow it. The odds were so stacked against it that it was considered next to impossible for a White Dragon Emperor and Red Dragon Emperor to fall in love, and it was even harder to believe that they fell in love considering they killed each other. She had to have heard Naruto wrong. My mom is Kushina Uzumaki, and my dad is Minato Namikaze. Are you okay? You look pale. Naruto noticed some of the color draining from Ria's skin. She was blinking rapidly, as her brain tried to process just who Naruto's parents were. As much as she tried to think about it though, the more her brain rejected the possibility of it. No, he had no reason to lie to her about it. Are you sure those are their names? Rias asked with a shaky voice. Naruto looked amused. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know my folks' names. Do you need me to take you home? We can always reschedule. Naruto pointed out, and Rias stood straight up. Well, sorry, I just wasn't expecting that. You have a pretty interesting family. Rias spoke as they left the house and started to make their way to Naruto's motorcycle. Naruto shrugged. Honestly, I love my mom and dad, but at the same time I'm not going to say they were good parents to me. Naruto spoke with a deep frown. She could see the resentment there, but she knew it wasn't her place to ask. Rias frowned. She could tell that he wasn't telling her everything, and while that was fine since they barely knew each other, she hoped he would open up to her more. He seemed like a very fun, interesting guy. Even now, she saw him change his frown into a smile and slap his cheeks before he turned to her. Screw all of that, we still have a date to go on. Come on, let's have some fun. Naruto told her, and she smiled. That was right, they were on a date. She could think about all of the complicated stuff later. Wow, I never knew this place existed. Rias was pleasantly surprised at the place that Naruto took her for dinner. She had been expecting just some trip to a fast food place, since it was quick and easy. It was just a spur-of-the-moment date after all. She didn't expect anything really grand or fancy. One couldn't really call the place grand or fancy, but it was far more classy than just taking a person to a fast food location. She had thought she knew all of the stores and places at and around the mall, but surprise, there was a ramen stand she never knew existed. Yeah, this place serves some pretty amazing ramen. Naruto looked at the bowl of his favorite food with more affection than Rias had seen Naruto display since meeting him. He had already paid for their food. One of the stand's policies was paying for the food before you got it. Since there was no refund and no complaint policy, it was surprising for Rias to see such thing. The rules were simple. You didn't order the ramen, the chef made the ramen and then gave it to you. You didn't get to pick a flavor, you didn't get to pick the toppings, and you didn't get to pick the size. Everything was picked for you, and if you complained you were banned from the stand for life. If I don't place an order, how does he know what I want? Rias asked, as a bowl was placed in front of her. It was 2 sizes smaller than the bowl that Naruto had, and she could see that the contents were different as well. While Naruto's was full of ingredients and different toppings, her dish was rather moderate about it. Her noodles were thicker and had absorbed the broth more to allow her to have more ease with eating it, and she could see generous amounts of vegetables in it. She had a rather healthy version of the ramen that Naruto was having. Oh, and word to the wise, if you don't slurp when you eat, the chef takes it as an insult. Naruto mentioned it, and Rias nodded her head. She slurped up her first group of noodles. Oh my word, this is amazing, this is the best ramen I've ever had. Rias whispered in awe, as she looked into the contents of the bowl. She looked at Naruto, and saw that he was slurping away at his noodles. This is really light on the stomach, but it has such a delicate balance of flavors that all complement each other. It matches my tastes perfectly. Rias marveled at how skilled the chef must be to have created this. So she continued to eat, being sure to slurp the way that Naruto was, though she was pretty sure that was just the normal way you were supposed to eat ramen politely. She was sad when she finished the ramen, and she looked to see Naruto bring the bowl to his lips and drink the broth. So she copied him and lifted her own bowl to her lips, and when she finished, she found that she couldn't eat another bite if she tried. Belch. Rias blushed and covered her mouth when she burped at the same time as Naruto, and Naruto sent her a thumbs up. You're not Japanese, so you wouldn't know this, but it's actually a way to show the food is good by burping. Naruto told her, before he stood up and gestured for her to, as well. He placed his bowl back on the counter. She could now see why Naruto liked this place so much, it was pretty obvious. You didn't need to do anything, but pay for the food, and you would be given exactly what you wanted, in the exact amount that would fill your stomach. She didn't know how the ramen maker did it, but he was somehow able to discover a way to predict what customers would want, and the amount they could handle. It was just to sit back, relax, and be given exactly what you needed. It might be Japanese polite, but it's rude in most other places. If my mother heard me burp, she would have scolded me for it. Rias informed Naruto of the way her family would have seen her accidental action. She placed her hand against the side of her head, and laughed at her own imagination. Naruto just raised an eyebrow. Scold you for burping. Your mom sounds pretty uptight. Naruto could imagine an older, more uptight Rias, as Rias' mother. It was a pretty funny image in his head to be honest. So Rias, you know little about my family situation, tell me a little about yours. Naruto told her, as the two of them walked side by side through the mall. Rias hummed for a moment. That sounded fair, but she didn't really want to talk about herself. She wanted to learn more about him right now. Not to mention she didn't really want to talk about her family at the moment either. How about Rias started to suggest, before she felt the tingling feeling of anticipation go down her spine. Her senses were placed on alert when she sensed one of her mortal enemies nearby. She stopped talking, and started to look around, trying to find the source of her tingling senses. The feeling she got was only something that she ever got when a fallen angel or an angel were nearby, those with the powers of holy, or holy artifacts in general. Dragons attract powerful enemies, and allies, Rias whispered to herself, as she glanced at Naruto. Naruto grinned when he heard her whisper. Oh, there's an enemy nearby. Fighting in the middle of the mall means they are trying to make us hold back to not kill anyone. A hostage situation. Naruto mentioned when he glanced all around at the unsuspecting mall patrons. Rias looked at Naruto in surprise when she heard the way he didn't seem to care about the lives of those around him. She would have assumed that he would hold himself back to not hurt others. Was she wrong? She looked around, before she looked up, and saw 3 fallen angels flying above the mall. They were hard to know that it was becoming night, but there they were. They were also rapidly approaching the mall itself. Naruto crossed his arms when he followed her gaze, and saw them. You're taking this calmly. Rias stated, and Naruto shrugged. There's a group of powerful assassins after me. 3 little birds isn't really anything to be worried about. Naruto revealed that information lightly. He did so with a mild wave of his hand, as if his information hadn't just made Rias look at him strangely. The way you reacted to my swords earlier means you know about the supernatural. Do you have a way to put them all to sleep? Naruto asked Rias, as the fallen angels above them landed on the roof of the mall. 2 females and a male. You must have a powerful sacred gear if you want to fight 3 fallen angels. Ryuz pointed out, as the mall patrons started to fall asleep. Ryuz used her magic to put all of the nearby people to sleep, and the magic would keep spreading until it got to everyone in the mall. Once people started to fall asleep in mass quantities, the fallen angels broke a hole in the glass ceiling and descended down towards them. Naruto smirked. Nope, my sacred gear is focused on healing. Without using my balance breaker, I have almost no way to use my sacred gear for offense. Naruto cracked his knuckles as he spoke. Naruto grabbed the hem of his shirt before he flung it off of his body and threw it at Ryuz. Out of pure instinct she caught his shirt and sent him a curious look. So what do you little birds want? Naruto asked the fallen angels as he glanced between them. I hate arrogant humans. She is just adorable Ryuz, I can't fight her. Naruto stated as he looked at the youngest looking fallen angel. He looked back at Ryuz with the most deadpan expression that she could imagine. The short lowly blonde fallen angel didn't know how to respond to his statement. Look at her, she's super tiny like super tiny. Naruto smiled as he looked at the girl. She summoned a spear of light and threw it at Naruto, and he didn't even bother moving out of the way when it stuck itself into his chest. Naruto. Oh look, I've been impaled. She's still super cute, and I refuse to fight her. I can fight the other 2 though. Naruto mentioned, as he pointed at the grown woman and the man. He had no problems hitting a grown woman, he just didn't hit the cute young ones. I'm 300 years old. Naruto puked up blood, and Ryuz stared at him with a surprised look. She looked at him instantly, and went pale at a revelation. That's the most damage you've done to me. Naruto admitted to the girl, as he pulled the spear out of his chest. 2 rings appeared on his hands, and he placed one against his chest. Ryuz watched, as the hole in his chest began to regenerate. Moments later the hole in his chest was healed up, and he was ready to battle again. So Ryuz, these people are your enemies or what? I don't recognize any of them. Naruto spoke to Ryuz. He caught a light spear thrown at him. He flung it back at them, and nailed the grown woman between the eyes, her own spear lodging itself in her head. The other 2 fallen angels were instantly on high alert when one of their own was killed. They're members of Grigori, but I don't know what they are doing here. Donosik is the male, and the woman you killed is Kalawerner, and the one you don't want to fight is Middles. Ryuz explained what she did know about their enemies, their names, and that was it. She didn't really know much about them other than that. They weren't really that powerful, and they weren't really famous. What are you all even doing here? This isn't fallen angel territory. Ryuz pointed out politely to the enemy. Naruto started to walk towards them. No reason you need to be concerned with, we're after him. If you will come with us peacefully, it won't have to get messy. Donosik pointed out. He blinked. The next second, Naruto was standing in front of him, nose to nose with him. He yelped and backed up several steps. He summoned a spear to his hand, and Middle reacted in a similar way. Naruto grabbed Donosik by the head with one hand, before he slammed it into his knee. Crunch. Donosik's face carved into his skull, with bone fragments shooting out of the back of his head. His corpse fell to the ground when Naruto let go of his head. Naruto looked towards Middle, and she took a step back. That was messy, Naruto, I think you should finish off. Ryuz was interrupted moments later. You're so damn cute Middle. Look at this tiny body. Naruto scooped Middle up into a hug, restraining her arms, as he rubbed his cheek up against hers. So cute. Naruto shouted out, as his hands roamed, one of his hands going to her breast, while the other groped her thigh. Naruto laughed nearby the entire time he was doing it, while Ryuz just watched, her reaction going blank, as she didn't quite understand what was going on. Middle's screams could only get louder when Naruto's hands continued to roam, and Ryuz raised her hand up to remind Naruto that the girl was the enemy. Those are some really adult panties you have, Middle-chan. Then Naruto flipped the girl upside down, and revealed her black thong to the world around them. Ryuz didn't know what to say when she saw the way Naruto seemingly changed gears from a fighter into something so strange. She tilted her head when she saw Naruto do things with Middle's body that were just good. Ryuz didn't want to think about how the body was supposed to bend that way. There were rumors that the previous Red Dragon Emperor had a weakness for cute things, small cute things, and would sometimes refuse to fight if her opponent was cute enough. She didn't think that those rumors were true, and she didn't think that trait could be passed down to the child either. So this was Naruto's weakness. Okay, I'm done for now. Naruto said to Ryuz, as he carried an unconscious Middle on his shoulders. Naruto's skin was practically glowing, as if he had a good night's sleep, and was fully recharged. Are you a pet? I'm not a pedophile. I'm not sexually attracted to kids in any way, shape, or form. I just have an awesome adoration for cute things. Don't worry, the only lawless I molest are the ones that are my enemies. Naruto sent Ryuz a thumbs up. Her jaw dropped when she heard his casual admission of enemy molestation. She could appreciate the fact he was limiting his perversions to his enemies, and not his allies. Also, I literally can't fight them. Naruto spoke more seriously. Literally. As in, Naruto was physically unable to fight cute things. How? When I try to fight super cute things, I just lose all of my motivation, and my attacks don't carry a lot of power. It's actually a pretty bad weakness, and I'm working on getting rid of it. Naruto was just as bothered by his weakness as others. His only way to fight cute things was to not fight them. He wasn't able to raise a fist against cute opponents, that was all there was to it. You're not a raw. I will slap you, I'm not a rapist. I hug them so that I can squeeze the air out of their lungs, and I touch their bodies so they will scream, and use up all of their oxygen, and pass out. This is literally the only way I can defend myself against cute things, it just so happens that I act like a pervert when I do it. Naruto explained, as he frowned at Rias for even assuming that he would cross that line. He had a line he wouldn't cross. Also, look at how cute she is, she's a total cutie. Naruto lifted up the knockout middled, and showed her off to Rias. You want me to kill her? Rias asked Naruto with crossed arms. I want to keep her, anyway, I killed the other two too quickly, and I want to know why they were after me. I guess we should cut the date short, eh? Since I did most of the killing, I think it's only fair you get rid of the bodies. Naruto mentioned, as he looked at the two fresh corpses. Rias nodded her head, since it was a fair suggestion to her, as well. I guess we'll call it here. Rias agreed. Same time next week? Naruto asked, as he turned, and started to walk away, to go, and get his motorcycle. Sure, until the end, this was really fun. Rias spoke with a small smile. She really did have fun on the date, despite her main purpose of the date to get to know Naruto. She felt like she had learned a lot about him. You knew he had such a strange weakness. When I get out of here, I'm going to enjoy ripping you piece by piece. How adorable, first tell me everything you know, and why you were after me. Naruto told Middle with a smile on his face. She was red in the face from sheer annoyance with him, considering the fact that he had strapped her down to a chair. She was in nothing but her panties, as her arms were handcuffed behind her back with special handcuffs that were sealing away her powers. They were powerful enough to even hold ultimate class beings with ease, made by Jiraiya himself, so for a small fry fallen angel like Middle she wasn't getting out. What are you going to do? You won't hurt me. Middle shouted at Naruto, remembering what his weakness was considering that he admitted to it. He even tried to have the Gremory child kill her, because he wasn't able to bring himself to do it. She knew for a fact that he wasn't going to hurt her. Naruto showed her one of her own wing feathers. Yep, I'm not able to hurt you, but I can humiliate you, and do other things. Look at these cute little feet on these legs. Naruto lifted one of her legs, and showed off her small feet. Oh, and what do we have here, a feather? Naruto showed off the feather in his other hand. He made a mockingly surprised face, as he brought the feather close towards her foot. You going to tickle me? Middle asked with a raised eyebrow. That'll lick you until you cough up the information or shove a dildo into your ass, and then tickle you. So tell me, do you work for Akatsuki? Naruto asked Middle, as he sat down in front of her feet. He held her leg firmly in place so that she couldn't move it. Her feet weren't restrained so that he could move her lower body around with ease. Fuck. Stop. Fuck. Shit. Naruto started his torture, as he lightly brushed the feather against her toes, and the sole of her foot. Middle started to laugh uncontrollably, as Naruto continued his old-fashioned torture against her. Her back arched, as her face began to turn bright red, before she started to pale when 40 seconds and she had extreme trouble breathing. Suddenly, the tickling stopped right before she was going to pass out. Not the answer I was looking for. Naruto sang to her, and she took as many deep breaths as she could to try and bring the air back into her body. The fuck was that? Fuck you. You say that, but I feel like you don't really want to have sex with me. Too bad, I bet you have a really tight. Continuing on, Naruto stopped himself from getting sidetracked as he reached up and placed the feather against her ribs. She flinched when she felt the sudden urge to giggle at the light feeling. Did Akatsuki hire you to watch me? Are Akatsuki and Grigori teaming up together? Naruto asked her. She spat on his face. Eat my ass. Maybe later, but first, time to see if laughter is the best medicine. Naruto saw Middle go pale when he started to tickle her again. No? Stop, Grigori, and whatever that group you said aren't working together. Middle shouted the answer the second the tickling started. She was super ticklish on her ribs, and she didn't want to experience his hellish tickling in that spot. Not after she felt how good he was at finding all of those spots on her foot. I swear, to my knowledge, that is the truth. I'm not a high-ranking member of Grigori, and they don't tell me much. Middle tried to validate her claim by showing her own low status. Naruto nodded, and lowered the feather away from her ribs, thinking of that bit of information. Okay, so why are you after me? Naruto asked her, and she looked like she wanted to say the answer, but she bit her lip and stopped herself. At the moment, she still had a chance of being taken back by Grigori. She wasn't going to withstand the tickling if she didn't know the answer, but this was an answer that she did know, and that she shouldn't be telling Naruto. She would have to withstand his tickling if she wanted to remain loyal to her group. Be gentle. What's this? Naruto asked, as he reached underneath her chair, and she watched, as he pulled out a second feather. He had the most sarcastic look on his face, as he licked his lips, bringing out the feather. A second feather, dear God, you are such a cute little thing. You gave me 2 of your feathers because you love my tickling so much. Naruto mentioned with a look towards her tiny breasts. Since she was small-breasted, her breasts would be a touch more sensitive than those of a larger-breasted woman. Naruto reached up with the feathers, while Middle tensed up and bit her lip. When Naruto started to lightly tickle her nipples with the feathers, she did give a moan, as she stiffened up a little, but then he lowered, so where her breasts connected with her ribs. That wasn't a moan. Middle tried her hardest not to laugh, as she bit down. Her lower lip began to bleed, and suddenly she found an out. You can't kill yourself, Middled. I have Twilight Healing as my sacred gear. Even if you bite your tongue off, I'll just heal you, but you won't have a tongue anymore. Naruto stopped tickling her, as she dropped her idea of killing herself. He had seen in her eyes that she had considered it for a moment. He could admire how she was willing to try and keep her orders a secret. Back to the tickling. I was one of the fallen angels asked to watch the people in Kuo with sacred gears. You have a powerful sacred gear, and rumor has it you have a dragon-type subspecies balance breaker. My leader wanted to see if those rumors were true. We were supposed to fight you to try and get you to reveal your power. Middle revealed the information quickly, without haste, now that she knew that she had no out. It was either she gave up the information that he wanted, or she was going to be tickled again. That dreadful feeling of laughing not because you wanted to, but because your body was panicking, was horrifying. The feeling of wanting to breathe, but being unable to do so was just as bad. Do you have any more people on this mission with you? Other than the ones you were with when you attacked me? Naruto asked her. He raised up the feathers. Yes, Rainer. She's watching that boy you were walking to school with. She's planning on killing him next week. You're no fun. I really wanted you to be more stubborn. You have a really cute laugh. Naruto pouted when she gave up all of the information he asked for too easily. He sighed to himself, because he was really getting into it. I will literally suck your dick if you let me go free. Middle tried to bargain with something that most guys would kill for. This guy was a lolicon, so if she offered him a blow, then maybe he would be willing to let her go. Looking back, she was the weakest of her allies, and he killed her allies without even so much as breaking a sweat. He also healed a hole in his chest, so nothing she could do would really hurt him. Then again, he wasn't going to hurt her, so maybe she could take him down, but if she attacked him again, no doubt he would beat her the same way as before. Okay then. Naruto stood up. What are you doing? Middle shouted when she saw Naruto unzip his pants and pull them down, showing his underwear to her. She saw the bulge at the front of his underwear, and she looked at him with a burning red face. She had not been expecting that type of reaction out of him, even more so with him accepting her offer to blow him. You just offered to blow me for your freedom, and other than your panties, you're naked. Naruto deadpanned her. Middle watched as he pulled down his underwear. Big. I wasn't expecting you to accept. As much as I'm considering having sex with you right now, I want to conserve at least some of my dignity. Middle was honest when she mentioned considering having sex with him. Considering the fact that he was clearly very strong, had a powerful aura, and was well equipped to take care of her needs, she knew that she wouldn't be able to go back to Grigori with her head held high if she did that. Also, why didn't you take off my panties? Middle asked with a confused look. That was right, she was wearing panties. Why? If the tickling alone didn't work, I was going to give you a really wicked wedgie, and then tickle you even more. So we are doing this or what? Naruto asked her with a smirk. Fuck me. 2 hours later. That was surprisingly good for a human. Middle didn't want to say that he had satisfied her, as she walked with a limp towards the exit of the house. She didn't want to give him the satisfaction of knowing that he had left her feeling a good feeling between her legs. Honestly, the only time they stopped doing it was when Naruto needed to stop to recharge his battery and take a shower. You're actually letting me go free? Middle asked with a surprised look when Naruto opened the door to his home and showed her the outside. He nodded. Of course, you said you would blow me for your freedom. I said I would free you, and I'm a man of my word. So you are free to go. If you ever have an itch that needs scratching, feel free to come back. Slap. Go fuck yourself. Middle shouted as she opened her wings and flew off. Naruto laughed as she left, seeing the blushing red face that she left with. Not when I have you to do it for me. Naruto shouted back to her. You do realize that she knows your weakness, right, and you're letting her go. Tsunade pointed out as she stepped out from behind Naruto with slightly red cheeks. She had heard too much of what they had been doing. Well, this is going to bite me in the ass someday, and I know that, but it was still worth it. Naruto nodded his head in understanding and confirmation of his thoughts. The fact that an enemy was flying away with knowledge of his weakness sucked, but somebody was going to learn about his weakness someday anyway. He had a pretty big weakness, and it would be hard to hide the fact that cute things were his weakness. Did you learn a lesson from this? Tsunade asked with a raised eyebrow. He grinned. Nope, a lesson he did not learn. Ryuz was a little surprised when Sona had decided to call on her to talk about something. Normally her fellow king just allowed her to do as she pleased, without questioning her. They would on occasion hang out or talk, but she had never been interrupted from her plans before by the girl. So there she was, sitting with her friend rival in the student council room, curious as to what brought this about. So Ryuz, how was your date with Uzumaki-san? It went well enough. We were attacked by fallen angels, but they were easily taken care of. Ria spoke with a curious glance at her school ally. They were alone, which was strange that Sona didn't have her queen with her. Actually, that itself was suspicious that Sona asked her not to bring Akeno with her for this meeting. A surprise meeting without their queen's present was odd for the girl to ask, as in, she never asked for a meeting without the queen's presence. "What's up, Sona?" Riaz asked, as she glanced at her opposite. The girl was the polar opposite of her in many ways. Where Riaz was curved, Sona was petite. Where she had long vibrant hair, Sona had short black hair. Even the way they treated their peerages and peers was different, vastly different, considering that Sona was much colder with her peerage in general. She was kind to them, but she was as strict with them as she felt the need to be. "You wouldn't call me here to ask about my date," Riaz pointed out. Sona nodded slowly. I noticed that Uzumaki sent Sona put the emphasis on Naruto's last name. Has been causing chaos with the clubs at the school. Even today, he's challenging the remaining clubs at the school. The only clubs left are the debate club and the org. Sona pointed out calmly, but Riaz could see that she was bothered. The school she was putting so much effort into keeping under control was being torn down around her. All of the clubs were in a panic state, and were all complaining about how Naruto had defeated them, and taking their club's items as trophies. No doubt in her mind that she knew Sona was at her wit's end on what to do. Technically, Naruto was not doing anything against the rules. He was challenging the clubs to contests that were within the rules of each of the clubs. While the betting was a moral gray area, it wasn't like it was truly against the rules of their school either. The point. Riaz didn't really care what Naruto did. So he wanted to challenge clubs. Good for him, he was following his desires. He was working hard towards a goal that he had set for himself. The fact he was staying true to himself was a trait that not many could say they had. I've been looking at his previous records, and this isn't the first time he's done this. He's challenged other schools before ours. Sona explained, as she opened up a laptop and turned it so that Riaz could see it. She showed Naruto's medical records, personal information on him, and a list of all of the schools that Naruto had challenged before he came to Kuo. The list of schools. That's a long list. He certainly kept himself busy. Riaz was surprised at how extensive the list truly was. It was pretty neat. I'm not sure if you're aware, but his parents are Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. His birth certificate confirms it. He's the son of the Red Dragon Emperor and the White Dragon Emperor of the previous generation, and he's in possession of his own sacred gear. He's skilled, powerful, and he has no weakness. Sona explained, as she pulled up all of Naruto's records that she had gotten a hold of. Thanks to her connections, this much information for data management was simple. Riaz kept her mouth shut about Naruto's weakness. He trusted her not to tell anyone, and she wasn't going to abuse that knowledge unless she had to. She was sure that Sona would seriously abuse the knowledge that she had if given to her. You don't have enough pieces to reincarnate him. The only way you could manage that is if you used all 8 of your pawns, and you already plan on reincarnating somebody else as a pawn. Riaz pointed out something that she had been thinking about. I've changed my mind. I want Naruto for my peerage. He's worth 8 pawns if that is what it takes. I sent my familiar to scout his house, and I saw both the demon sword Gram and the holy sword Ascalon in his room. Sona, that's really an invasion of privacy. Naruto is an open book. If you talk to him, he would be more than willing to answer your questions. Riaz felt a little bad for Naruto. He was being subject to Sona's research, and no doubt he was going to be watched by her more. She wanted to go and tell Naruto, but Sona was still her longtime friend, so she wouldn't betray her either. Decisions. Sona shook her head. Since you went on a date with him, I was curious if I would have to compete with you to add him to my peerage. Sona pointed out. Riaz shook her head. Honestly, I'm on the fence about adding him to my peerage. Riaz thought about a certain 2 cute members of her peerage. She wasn't sure that Naruto would be able to handle being on the same team as them without going berserk. She wasn't sure if her peerage would be able to keep up with Naruto either, since Naruto was far too wild for them to even hope to control through normal methods. It was hard to manipulate the desires of a person who was always true to his desires, and had the power to follow his dreams without help. Good, then I want to lay claim to him. When he comes to challenge the student council, I'll defeat him in a contest of wits. He's a rather brutish man. I doubt he can compare to my battle strategies. You're making the assumption he's going to beat my club. Riaz realized that Sona had factored the fact that Naruto would defeat the orc into her calculations. That was pretty insulting to her, but after seeing Naruto in action, she was pretty sure that the assumption was spot on. Nobody in her peerage was really at a level where they could honestly compete with Naruto. Then again, she could abuse her knowledge of Naruto's weakness, and use that to her advantage, but Naruto trusted her with that information, so she wouldn't abuse it against him. Is it really an assumption? I'll defeat him, because I'm smarter than he is. He only challenges the clubs in something related to their club, to prove that he's superior to them. Sona pointed out with a slight smirk. A little friendly taunting was fine. Sona stopped when the door to her student council room opened. Student council president, I'm here to challenge you to a contest of your choice. Also Rias, I challenge you to a contest of your choice. It's up to you to accept or deny my challenge. Naruto burst into the room. Sona closed her laptop instantly and pushed her glasses up her nose. She looked towards Naruto, surprised that he had already gotten to them in such a short amount of time. Issei came trailing in behind Naruto, carrying Naruto's spoils of war against the clubs for him. He was exhausted from having to run after Naruto and carry his stuff. Fine, I accept your challenge, but if I win you have to surrender yourself to becoming my servant for the rest of your life. Sona didn't beat around the bush as she looked towards Naruto. You're really tiny, Naruto whispered as he looked at Sona's petite body with narrowed eyes for a moment. He looked up and down her petite body, from her minuscule breasts to her tiny waist and her shorter height and such high stacks. Here, if you win, you can have Issei instead. Naruto offered up Issei. Hey, asshole. No thank you, I don't want Haidu-san, he's not as valuable as you are. Sona rejected that idea instantly. Down my feelings. Suck it up, Oppai Dragon Emperor. Naruto told Issei as he patted Issei on the back. Sona's eyebrows furrowed when she looked at Issei. Oppai Dragon Emperor. Actually, I accept your conditions. Suddenly, Haidu-san has gained some value. Sona looked at Issei with a glint in her eyes, covered by her glasses. There were only 2 Dragon Emperors, the red and white, and considering that Naruto had a dragon aura, it was plain that he was able to sense something inside of Issei that none of them could easily sense. That meant that Issei had a Longinus level sacred gear, if the nickname could be applied normally. Considering how weak Issei was, it would be far easier to turn Issei into a devil than it would be to turn Naruto. Ha! I'm more valuable than you are. No, you aren't. Rias pointed out to Issei, dashing his hopes instantly. She had understood why Sona had changed her mind, and she could see her line of thought. The difference was that Naruto had far more potential than a mere Longinus level sacred gear. Considering the boosted gear and divine dividing weren't even the most powerful of the Longinus sacred gears, there still existed things that could surpass them in power easily. Ow. What do I get if I win? I'm not going to bet on Issei's freedom for nothing. Also, what is the contest? Naruto asked, and Sona considered it. She knew the contest. I challenge you to a contest of wits. You've been using your muscles to conquer my school, and I want to see if you are capable of battling with your brain. My challenge for you is 5 games of chess. Your prize, if you win, is my hand in marriage. Sona extended her hand towards Naruto. It wasn't like he was going to win after all. He couldn't beat her at chess. Nobody beat her at chess, ever. I don't really want that, but it is a fair trade. A life for a life is fair, and you are cute. Not like I ever planned on getting married for love. Actually, Naruto thought it over seriously. This might work out for him. Dude, take the bet, take it. She's super cute, and if you marry her, you get to have sex with her. Issei encouraged Naruto to take the bet. What you wouldn't give to have sex with a girl as pretty as Sona was, even if her boobs were tiny, they were perky, and that was nice too. Naruto shrugged. Why are you even offering that? Naruto asked Sona. I swore to my parents that I would marry the first man to prove himself smarter than I am. Anyway, it doesn't matter if I bet my hand in marriage. You won't beat me, you have 0 chance of success against me. You great. -5 chess games later. Naruto showed Sona his middle finger as he placed her into checkmate again, for the 5th time, since Sona didn't accept the first 3 times that he beat her. She looked at the board in utter shock when she saw her king utterly surrounded by a multitude of pieces. Her glasses fell off of her face as she looked at the board. What? Well, surprised, Ria spoke slowly when she saw the utter defeat her rival suffered. Don't assume I'm stupid. When I attended Konoha High, there was a man named Shikamaru Nara. He was the head of the shogi club. He had an IQ of over 200 and was one of the smartest men in the country. Just because I'm an idiot doesn't mean I'm stupid. My grades suck because I can't be bothered to learn stuff I'm never going to use. Naruto glared at Sona with a deep frown. It was fine if he called himself stupid. He made dumb mistakes all the time, but he hated when people called him stupid because he got bad grades. He got bad grades because he never bothered himself to learn anything the school was teaching. He also learned things in a different way than schools taught. Sona didn't know what to say. Naruto defeated all of the clubs at his previous school, and he defeated all of the notable people in their best areas. He defeated Rock Lee in soccer, Niji Hyuga in martial arts, and if this Shikamaru was skilled in shogi, then when Naruto challenged him, that would mean Rias started with whitened eyes. Oh shit. When it comes to battle strategy, I'm even smarter than a man with an IQ of over 200. I don't want your hand in marriage, so I'm going to take your glasses. Naruto took Sona's glasses off of the table and put them on his head, resting on his hair. She looked up at him with surprise at his statement. Naruto turned and started to walk away. Feel free to challenge me anytime. I'm always accepting challenges, and I'm coming for you next, Rias. Naruto told Rias, and she waved at him. She was looking forward to challenging him. When the door closed, Rias looked at Sona. He's smarter than I am. Sona's jaw dropped when it finally settled in, and she looked up towards the door with a glazed look in her eyes. She consistently lost. With Naruto. Seriously, how did you beat her? you're an idiot. Issei pointed out, and Naruto stuck his tongue out at Issei. Ass. I might be stupid, but I'm creative, and I'm really good at noticing my opponent's strategies and weaknesses. That girl was smart and all, but smart people are usually really easy to predict. Sorry for putting you up as a wager again. Naruto apologized to Issei, and Issei waved him off. I was never in any real danger, was I? Issei asked, and Naruto laughed. Nope. People really needed to stop underestimating him. Just one club left, and I'll have conquered this school completely and utterly, and I'll have done it in record time. Last time it took me almost a week to conquer a school. Naruto couldn't help but be proud of himself. Kuo was his last unconquered school in Japan. He had literally already conquered every other high school in the nation. Once he conquered Kuo Academy, he would well and truly have dominated all of the schools in the nation by himself. You really need to do some training, Issei. Anyway, the Orc is the last club on the list that needs to be taken down, and Rias is the president of the club. Naruto mused out loud when he noticed how exhausted Issei was. Running around during lunch, and after classes had worn the boy out, at this rate he was for sure dead if the White Dragon Emperor ever attacked him. He wasn't sure how he felt about that. Though, he should take her titty hammocks from her. Issei motioned to his chest, and made a boob-curving motion. I have literally no interest in taking Ria's bra. Since the Orc has the old school building as its clubroom, I'm going to take that. Naruto already knew what he wanted from Rias. He was going to take her club building, as his reward, since it was no longer truly used by the school. He would still let her participate in her club activities, but it would be nice for him to have a place that he could hang out. Unless I see something more interesting, then I'll want that. Naruto waved off Issei's statement without much care. The boy was a pervert, not really a big deal to Naruto, since he literally was raised by the biggest pervert the world had ever had. Issei could give Jiraiya a run for his perverted money. Then again, Jiraiya had age and actual sexual experience under his belt. If he was a virgin like Issei, no doubt Jiraiya would be 100 times more perverted than he is now. I need to get you to understand the value of a girl's breasts. Breasts are hot, I agree, but that isn't all there is to love about a woman's body, you know. I'm more of an ass man myself. Big breasts are nice, and all, but they aren't the most important thing. Naruto watched, as Issei looked like he had been physically slapped by that statement. High, breasts, boobs, and titties way heavier than even Naruto. What you just said brings shame to mankind. If I wasn't sure you would kick my ass for it, I would punch you. Issei raised his fist up. He would have punched his other two friends, but that was because they were all rather weak. He knew that if he punched the beefy bro next to him that he would get his ass beaten into the next week. Ass is great, and all. Last time he tried to make Naruto feel pain, he felt like he had cracked a bone in his hand, and he didn't want to repeat lesson. Ass is great, stop your sentence there, and we can agree on something. Anyway, this is the building. I wonder what Rias will decide the contest will be. Naruto wondered while walking into the old abandoned building, though it wasn't totally abandoned he should say. I sensed something dangerous. Naruto spoke with narrowed eyes, as he and Issei walked the hallways. Issei stiffened. That didn't sound good. Like danger danger, or something stupid danger. Issei was starting to get the hang of Naruto's train of thought. Since Naruto was really strong, and really good at martial arts, he doubted that anything would make the blonde-haired fighter shiver. So he was guessing it was something stupid that Naruto would label as dangerous. Naruto shrugged, and kept walking until they reached the stairs, and walked up them, since the main club room was on the second floor. With Rias. I can feel him coming. I guess it's time to see if I can overcome this hurdle. Rias spoke with a small smile on her face. Challenges. One of her ultimate goals in life was to win as many rating games against strong opponents as she could. To do this she would need to push her mind to the limit to create the best strategies she could, and she would need to test the limits of her leadership. She couldn't do that alone, she needed her peerage for that of course. She found that the best way to test if you were ready for something was to overcome a sort of challenge. From his records, Naruto had never lost a single battle against any club since he started to challenge schools, according to Sona at least. The man had experienced and conquered many experts and defeated them in what the arts that they were practiced in. You're excited? Akeno noted with a small smile. She rarely saw Rias looking so excited for something so unexpected honestly. This is a good chance to see how far I've come and try to find my own flaws. Naruto is a challenge, and I can't back away from a challenge just because I might not win. I can understand how my cousin feels about fighting at least a little bit. Rias could feel her hands shaking in anticipation. Her blood was boiling over, the desire to prove herself, overcome her own weakness, and meet the challenge head-on was far too appealing to her. He said his sacred gear was twilight healing, so how strong could he be? Yudo asked with a raised eyebrow. He had been kind of left out of the loop, since he didn't pay too much attention to rumors. He hadn't really heard much about this Naruto guy. All he knew was what Rias told him, and it would see that Rias was leaving information out. There is only a single person in this room capable of defeating him. Rias spoke, sure of her statement. Interesting, a human strong enough that you would have to take him on yourself. Yudo was surprised at that. I was talking about Kaneko. As much as Rias disliked admitting it, the fact remained that Naruto was a sacred gear user that had mastered his balance breaker. He was a true expert of the martial arts, had reflexes, and speed that would make it too hard for her to even think about using magic against him without somebody to keep him off of her. Not to mention he was a battle genius that was so good at strategy that even her rival Sona wasn't able to beat him. Me? Said girl spoke, as she looked up from her snack, surprise. She was the physically strongest person in the peerage, yes, but in pure fighting power both Rias and Akeno would run circles around her. In direct combat she knew that she wouldn't be able to defeat either of them, so for Rias to say that only she would be able to defeat this Naruto person was odd to say the least. Naruto has a ban. Hello Rias, I am now officially challenging you to a contest of your choosing. Naruto burst into the door, kicking it open with a grin on his face. The mere action of what he was doing alone caused everyone, but Rias, who was expecting him to do something like that, to jump out of surprise for his unexpected entrance. Ness. Welcome Naruto, I accept your challenge. Rias spoke, and her peerage looked at her in confusion. What was she saying when Naruto shouted over her? As for a reward, we want your Brazka. Issei was thumped on the head for declaring that. Naruto sighed, and rubbed his head in annoyance for a moment. Issei rubbed his head, as well, but that was more out of the fact he just got thumped. What? You know what? Anyway, name your challenge, and I'll accept it. Naruto told Rias, as he ignored most of the other people in the room. Rias smiled, and looked towards Kaneko for a second, her secret weapon against Naruto. The only person in her peerage, at the moment, that she was able to use against him. Rias had no doubt that if it came down to it, Naruto wouldn't hold back against herself, Akeno, or Yudo. Naruto looked where Rias was looking. Tiny, adorable, cute. Arm wrestling, since to search for the occult you need good upper body strength. Your opponent will be the person in the club with the strongest arm Kaneko Tauju. Rias gestured towards Kaneko. Kaneko Chan. Naruto spoke her name with a wispy sigh. He looked over her adorableness with glazed eyes for a moment. Her soft-looking white hair, cut rather girlishly short. Her flattish chest with only a little fat on it. Her petite lean body, and the way she was really short all came together. Right, Kaneko is a rook, she won't lose in arm wrestling. Yudo thought with a knowing look. No way a human could beat a rook in arm wrestling. Is what he thought. Fine. Naruto ripped his shirt off of his body, and walked towards the opposite end of the table Kaneko was sitting at. He gave Rias a meaningful glare when he passed by her, and she responded with a smile. She did appreciate his body once more, looking at the thickness of his pecs with a smile. He looks good in glasses. Rias thought when she saw he was still wearing Sona's glasses on his forehead. Kaneko rolled up her sleeve, and leaned forward, placing her elbow on the table. Such tiny arms are so adorable. Naruto whispered, as he got across from Kaneko, and grabbed onto her hand, elbow also on the table. Akeno stepped next to them, and placed her hands on top of theirs, stopping them from starting until they were to begin. You got this Naruto, and when you win you can tell them to walk across campus with their shirts off. Issei was super excited for Naruto's win this time. Rias just shrugged her shoulders at that, while Akeno giggled. She was finding Issei's perversion rather amusing to say the least. I already have something in mind. Naruto looked at Kaneko with narrowed eyes for a moment. She raised an eyebrow when she looked back at him. She wondered if he disliked her for something based on his narrow eyes narrowing, but didn't really care too much. Did you have to remove your shirt? Not at all, I did it to distract Rias, since she is always looking at my pecs. Naruto stated with an equally deadpan tone to what Kaneko just used. Rias' cheeks turned into flames when she realized that Naruto had caught her staring at his chest. Akeno and Yudo both glanced at Rias with a curious glance. Really? Just start. The second Akeno removed her hands nothing happened. Naruto and Kaneko just stared at each other in the eyes, as they tried to push down each other's arm. Kaneko was immediately surprised when he didn't go down instantly, even more so that she was struggling to push him back. I thought cute girls were supposed to be his weakness. How's he still holding up against Kaneko? Rias thought with a furrowed brow. She glanced her hands together, and watched, as the table underneath Naruto and Kaneko cracked. Kaneko started to sweat. His life force is so bright and warm he's got an extremely powerful life force. Can he use Tauki? Kaneko thought when she felt her strength waning. She could feel that he had a very passive use of his base of life, increasing his strength, speed, and durability. The fact that his very life itself was so potent that he was increasing his power naturally was worrying. He had a very addicting energy, making her feel like taking a nap on him to bask in his aura. His powerful, calming, sunny, warm. Even now Kaneko could feel herself slipping. Has Naruto mastered Tauki? So adorable, I don't want to hurt her. Naruto thought, as he found it hard to get the motivation to win against Kaneko. She was just so adorable when she was struggling, her tongue was sticking out, and she had a twitching brow. Come on Naruto, win. Think of the reward. Issei shouted, as he cried tears at the thought of Rias and Akeno topless. It would fulfill his life. Naruto imagined wearing a bikini while wearing cat paws on her hands and feet and kitty ears on her hand with a tail. But yes, my weakness is that I can't fight or hurt cute things. Naruto spoke as Kaneko was forced to draw her strength back. Her hand started to get closer to the table as Naruto forced her hand. She struggled against his increasing strength as Naruto intensely looked at her with hearts in his eyes. This girl is without a doubt the cutest, most adorable tiny thing I've ever seen. Tiny. Kaneko forced Naruto's arm back up to the standing position when she heard that word and looked down at her chest. I'm not flat, my chest is just developing. Kaneko hissed at Naruto when she ignored the feeling of his warmore. All her strength returned to her, she was able to put back up a good fight. Naruto grinned at the real challenge she was providing now, and he pushed her arm back down. I don't care about breasts, what I care about is cute. You have something Rias will never have, you have the cute aura that makes men like me just want to pamper you. Not to mention that your hips look pretty nice. Naruto just complimented Kaneko as he pushed her hand back down. Kaneko pushed back up and returned with more force of her own. The veins in her arm were visible from the sheer amount of force she was putting into her arm. She was gritting her teeth and she glanced at Naruto. She saw the aura of a dragon behind him. What? Kaneko thought, taken back in surprise. Pervert Kaneko shot back and Naruto grinned at her. Hot meat kettle, you're black. I can look into your eyes and see that you've got an inner pervert too. You're no different than me, you love cute things. I bet you show your love for cute things by teasing them. Naruto could see a kindred spirit in Kaneko. He could see it in her eyes, and while she wasn't as bad as he was about it, he could see her love for the cute. She does love teasing Gasper, Ryu's thought. Well, Gasper Keno realized that Kaneko did always tease Gasper whenever the two of them were together. Actually, you remind me of a girl I met a few months ago. Whatever, doesn't matter, what matters is when I win. Rias, when I win I want to go to the beach with Kaneko-chan and dress her up in a really cute swimsuit. Naruto told Rias with a sharp grin. He wanted to see her in a skimpy cat swimsuit that would match so well with her. Rias blinked. My family has a private beach, so sure. Rias didn't have a problem with that. She was sure that Naruto wouldn't do anything too bad to Kaneko. She had to remember the way that Naruto felt about Middled. Oh, Naruto, how's your guess? Rias looked towards Issei with a raised eyebrow, wondering if he was aware of the supernatural yet. Oh, Middled and I had a night of passion. Naruto mentioned. Rias laughed. But joke. Not joking, she offered me sex, as I was tickling her. Naruto fully admitted what he did. Rias giggled at the way Naruto was joking with her. Naruto pushed Kaneko's hand down to the point that it was almost touching the table. Her back was arched, and she put her other hand on the table in an effort to overpower him. Actually, would it be that bad to lose? She was going to get to wear a cute swimsuit at a private beach, it would be like going on vacation. All she would have to do was let her hand touch the table, though it was practically already touching it, and she would get a free day of fun and play. No, she had her pride, as a rook. She lost seconds later. I lost. Kaneko spoke, as she looked at her hand on the table, which Naruto let go of, in surprise when she saw that she lost. But yes, you were smart to remember my weakness, but you made a mistake in the contest. You should have had me and Kaneko box each other. Then I wouldn't have been able to hit her. Next Sunday is when I want my prize. Naruto told Rias, who just sighed in defeat and nodded her head. She accepted her defeat, her club's defeat, with as much grace as she could. Okay, so maybe using Naruto, as her first big challenge was setting the bar too high. Thanks for watching my video, leave a like if you enjoyed my video, and also do consider subscribing to my channel for more awesome content. See you next time, till then sayonara.